category. It's about the Art, Science and Technology Expo. For sponsorship consideration, please call the following numbers.
The internal security of the nation, or the internal security of the nation, is being threatened by the activities of hoodlums who engage in opportunistic robbery, stealing, and snatching of bags, amongst others. These acts are on the increase in all parts of the country. To set the tone for our conversation this morning, we will take this voice pop as compiled by correspondent Salihu Abdullahi.
I will attribute what is happening now to the December factor, what I will call the December factor. You know, when we get to December month's period, a lot of people who came into Abuja or who have been working all through the year, including especially the miscreants and the criminal elements among us, become desperate. And then the more desperate they become, the more they take to criminality. And so that is a reflection of what you are saying. I just left Merit House. I was there for a function. And as I was coming out, somebody was shouting to high heaven that his car battery had been stolen. Had just been stolen. I mean, I just couldn't believe it in broad daylight, right in the midst of, with all the traffic and human presence, this could happen. So it's happening everywhere. Some will say the economy, but even before the recession, it has always been the practice.
Security agencies, they need to be on top of the situation. Last year, my car was stolen, so up to today, nothing has been heard about it. So if something like that can happen in the FCT, what do you think will happen elsewhere? If within 24 hours a car can be stolen, they do all the necessary things, and up to today, there's no information about the car. So which means I believe there is a failure of security apparatus in the FCT. That's the way I just look at it.
The thing is getting too much. 3 days ago, one of my boss came into town. His son parked his vehicle in front of Sadiq Plaza. They broke the back glass and removed his laptop, which is very, very bad. So the security here in Abuja is terrible. So please, the federal government need to do something about, or FCT need to do something about the security here in Abuja, because the thing is getting out of hand. Even somebody is not even safe, because as you are standing, somebody can steal you.
You can see, like sometimes this place, nobody collect bags around this place. This environment, nobody collect bags. And one of my colleagues also, she's once a victim also by collecting her bag from this place. And apart from we've been complaining, but there is nothing that has been done.
Based on there is no work, because I don't even see where person will get work, then it still goes still. Because when you get work, there is no still. But if, like me now, that is as a sample, okay, now, as a little things that I take support myself now, then they can't stop me that I should not going forward again, then I can look for what else to do.
I think what should be done compared to other nations, you look at the ratio of security men to the populace. In Nigeria, you discover that the ratio is 1 to 500. Which is very unfortunate, but if you go to Europe, you will discover that it's 1 to 5. Everywhere you go, you see security men, and they will checkmate affairs of individual. Any country that is not secured, it is really a problem.
Yes, our respondent talking about the issue of security here in the Federal Capital Territory. And I'm sure you're part of the world, where you are in Nigeria too, you're experiencing some forms here. Now to discuss the issue, we're now being joined. First, we'd like to introduce at this point Professor Sam Sma, of course, a familiar face on the program. Good morning, Nigeria. Professor of Criminology, Nasarawa State University, Kefi. Professor Sam Sma, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
We'd also like to welcome CSP Jima Moshood, is the first PRO and another regular face on our program as well. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Nigeria.
Joining the gentleman already introduced, we have Alhaji Sanusi Maijama, is the Deputy Maijama Abuja, is the Deputy National Chairman, North for Police Community Relations Committee, PCRC. Alhaji Maijama, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, it's indeed our pleasure to have you join us on this conversation, focusing on challenge of internal security. I'd like to start with Professor Sam Smah, because a professor of criminology, and you've been part of the scene. What is your view looking at what is happening in the country? Let's have an overview of describing the state of internal security in Nigeria.
Well, thank you. Good morning once again. The scene that we are living in seems to me like a kind of an unbelievable scene, where you find different levels, different, would I say, networks, you know, of criminals, you know, walking very freely on our streets, and of course committing all manners of atrocities. I would like to say that one of the critical factors explaining this trend is the issue of the size of law enforcement agencies, which somebody rightly mentioned earlier. The police population ratio, the United Nations put it as 1 to 400. And here we are in Nigeria. Our population is presumably now 180 plus million. And then you're having barely 400,000 or thereabouts of police personnel. And of course, they don't all do the same type of work. Some are in different organizations, and so you barely see the police presence in the public, where action, where people are, where daily activities of the larger population of Nigerians, you know, take place. So this is one explanation that is very, very clear here. I would like to move to say that if you also look at the enforcement of the Police Act, that is, the Police Act is Act 359, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 1999. If you go there, you will also see that the preservation of life, the enforcement of law, the protection of lives and property, and all other legal activities need to be protected by the police. And if we do not have the police that is well prepared, well groomed, well funded, and well structured to be able to be responsive to the needs of society as it develops, you find that it will be extremely difficult for people to have safety, to have security, to be free. And this is why criminals find it very easy to move into the neighborhoods, move into communities, move into areas where they think the environment are ripe for them to commit all manners of criminality. Then, of course, I don't usually like to talk about police corruption or law enforcement corruption in isolation of the entire framework of Nigeria. Nigeria's corruption rating is actually disturbing, and so you can't expect that the police as an institution will be isolated in terms of prosecution for those organizations, individuals, and so on that involve in corruption. But we're talking about the morality of the police to be able to investigate, to be able to arrest, to be able to detain. So in other words, I'm trying to say that we can tolerate corruption to an extent in certain aspects of our national life, but not in terms of the police, because they have the constitutional responsibility to arrest. They have the constitutional responsibility to prosecute. So if you don't have clean hands, you can't do this justifiably and feel okay. So the sort of environment that we have that composes so much of failures of law enforcement, so much of opportunities that are not actually taken advantage of by government, and therefore you find that criminals have a field day, because again, if somebody is arrested and he has good reasons to tell you this is why I have committed this crime. After all, I saw your staff, I saw your personnel. They too are helping themselves.
Yeah, Prof,
you know, so
we'll get to that very point in the course of this conversation. We'd like to go to the Deputy National Chairman of Police Community Relations Committee, that's Alhaji Sanusi Mike Jama Ajia. What is the perspective to all this? Because as civilian who liaise with the police in having information of crime within the society, let's have your perspective to internal security.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning once again. When you are talking of security, you're talking of your life. You exist where there is peace and security, I mean security to the maximum at least. But where you don't have security, what goes? Nothing. Because it is as if we are in chaos kind of situation. But who brings this, the security to work? We have institutional arrangement, constitutional arrangements, but the community, the general populace, they are to provide the enabling, create and support the police or the institutions or the constitution. It does not fall and then as a paper flies everywhere.
So what's the picture of
the picture of the internal security as at today is terrible. And I think it is a challenge to every Nigerian to ensure that we address this issue in totality so that we can have peace and have security within our community.
All right, thank you very much, Alhaji Ajia. Now, let's bring in the first PO. Yes, so of recent, we know there have been several arrests, especially in the Federal Capital Territory. Kaduna Abuja Highway, or at least was notorious for its own kind of crime and other areas of insecurity. But so much a problem now with the one within the neighborhood. We have petty stealing, we have people, car hijackers, and some other forms that we even get to hear by the day. What exactly is happening within the nation's capital as well as other parts of the country?
Thank you so much. I wish to, first of all, differ with Prof in so many areas, because when you talk of police presence, especially in the FCT, when you go out of here, you see at intersections, at strategic position, you see police patrol team, they're moving in. People need to be more and more security conscious in the sense that you buy a vehicle of maybe 2 million or 5 million, you cannot even put a single pedal lock to secure that vehicle. Even if it's your horse and you tie it outside, not protected, somebody will take it away. So it's behold on the people. Police have a responsibility under the Constitution, like Prof have said, to protect life and property. That's our first responsibility in the Constitution. And to ensure we engage the people. And that's the reason why the current Inspector General IGP Bramputu Idris MPM, I mean, when he came on board, say community engagement is the key. And he set in motion the establishment of the Eminent Persons Forum. The PCRC have been working with us over the years, and they've been making significant progress in assisting us to reach out to the public. How significant is this? Like about because these are things happening within the community. Yes, that's what I'm going to. Because those who are thieves, those who are robbers, or even kidnappers live within the community. Even you see instances where kidnapped victim will tell you that he was hearing the cry of a baby, hearing movement of vehicle. We even had where somebody free himself and was calling on the mechanic that behind it. He was kidnapped in a house where he went to submit a document for purchase of his property. And where people live around, 80 families are living in that environment. So security consciousness, we need all of us to contribute to ensure that the police function appropriately as we have been doing. So I've often said that if you look at the situation in the FCT, it's not like the first folks have said, it's not a situation that is terrible like what they are saying. When you go on patrol, even in the night, when you move around, if you don't see the presence of the police on the road, you won't feel safe. So we have introduced new strategies in ensuring that we curb criminality in the bond, but the community to have responsibility to assist us. First, you have to be security conscious. You have to watch your neighbor doors. Even if you go to some estates, some residential estates have been turned into beer parlor vehicles into social center and other things, and which are principally meant for residents. If you go through even the central area, you see a lot of abandoned building sites, a lot of projects were abandoned, and criminals take advantage of this. And when we continue to raid this criminal adult like we've been doing, because the Inspector General Police are directed, all Assistant Inspector General Police and Commissioner, to sustain the raid of criminal adult, because that is one of the crime prevention strategies that have been working for us over the year. You get to them, being proactive, get them arrested before they strike. But where the people themselves don't contribute to have a secure environment. Like, for example, if you take one chance, like you use in your opening, one chance is a menace, not only in FCT, but even in Lagos at the time. But it has been fought to stand still. But people should know that we push for an administrative instruction to be given to the people, especially transport union. A vehicle that is going to be used for commercial should be a vehicle of value, so that if you give it out to a driver, the driver will not be tempted to use it for one chance. When Abuja taxi system was on, all the vehicles have security tips. If there's any report against any vehicle, the vehicle will be struck down. Then there's this issue of now writing number plate boldly, which the Commissioner of Police at that time introduced, talked to the FCT minister, and introduced that every vehicle should have something written on it, even the vehicles that are not painted. So when we go at our own level, before you get to the level, because you are the first policeman to yourself, before somebody will start policing you. But when you are careless about your security, then somebody will take advantage. Most of the issue of even snatching of handbag are opportunistic crime that people commit.
But as if there's a particular period in the year that it becomes rife. Like now, we've had that in the last how many weeks, we've had cases of people's vehicles. Well, you talked about people having flashy cars or some at least high level. Well, there is no problem having big cars. But for some other road users who don't even have such cars, maybe they bought some other passengers, other commercial drivers' vehicles, and even parked in some spots. I've had senior colleagues whose vehicles were smashed where they parked them just leaving places of work. Is it not what is worrisome for the police to actually look into?
It is actually. It is. And a lot of strategies have been introduced, like I've said. You know, there's no society in this world that is crime-free. We watch on international television what is happening in other countries and what we too are contending with at home. But the basic fact is that, for example, when you take the instance of one chance, what we are saying that a vehicle to be used for commercial purpose should be of value and should be properly registered. If you buy a vehicle for 40,000, 50,000, when we are chasing you, if you have committed crime, you abandon the vehicle and go away. And when you check the vehicle, you cannot even trace it. And because you want to get to work on time, there's some vehicle on this one chart that doesn't have plate number at the rear, and once something happens, they go away. You did not even check that. You just enter into the vehicle. And if you want to enter a vehicle, for example, and anywhere you go is where the one chance man will go, it is on you to say, where are you going? If there are other people in the vehicle, but if you are the only one chartering the vehicle, for example, if you enter the vehicle and you are busy, send it on your phone and everything, you don't even know when the man takes it from Wuse to Gariki, or probably when it gets into central area, or take you. And you know, Abuja, for example, the streets look alike. You won't know when you take from Maitama, for example, to go into Wuse too. So that sensibility in the people. How many people know where help can come from? So those are the things we should take care of. In the middle of the night, some area, when you take the outskirts of Abuja, for example, the satellite city, there are no roads leading to anybody's place, because those are areas that government is said people should not settle. If you allow me to round up, it will be better for us to understand. Because in the middle of the night, when you call in the police, no street number, no street address, no the house has no number. And when you call in the police will be roaming in the dark. That's why that equally facilities are not there. It takes two policemen to police a street that is properly littered up, but we police darkness. So, and it is not across the world, it's only government that sponsors the activities of the police. Even in the developed country, the people themselves coming to contribute, not giving money to police. So there is a challenge for you policing because FCT and some other parts of the country? No, we don't have such a challenge. I'm just trying to let you know that even infrastructure, there is development in infrastructure. Because when you go to street, like the Inspector General of Police and the Nigerian Police brought in the head of police organization across the world to Abuja in 2011 under the UN Habitat. When in policing modern space, when you wall up your fences, you are not assisting us. That's what we call crime prevention through environmental design. The way you design your environment prevents a lot of crime. There's even what we call the the broken window theory. If a window is broken in your house and you refuse to fix it, you discover that the children in the neighborhood will start breaking all the other windows. If you have your lock is bad and you didn't fix the lock until when somebody come and break in the door. So you have to take security as priority, because it is when you have a secure environment, when you secure yourself, that you can secure that.
CSP Jimo, you have a whole lot to say about this, but you talked about internal security, being cautious of security. But a situation where, let's take for instance, within the National Mosque area, going to...
there are some black spots. When
you take National, go to Yaradua
down
Center.
below, you see them run down there, and you see police quite not far from there. You know, it gives word of concern. So we'll get to that. Let's come back to Prof. Prof, you've had a picture painted. You know, what are the issues that usually give rise to this? Because from the account, it's on the increase. Cases of stealing, snatching of bags, armed robbery, kidnapping across the nation. It's not restricted to the FCT. The police, they're doing a lot. They're handicapped, no doubt. What do we make of it? What is informing all these developments?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that law enforcement must have the bite that it deserves or that is stated to have. If we arrest, or if the police arrest a suspect, somebody who has just committed an offense or an alleged offense, and the investigation and the prosecution and all of that amounts to nothing, even though there are clear evidences that this is someone who committed an offense, some other people will be encouraged to do that. And because of this ripple effect, or the boomerang effect of the failure of law enforcement, everybody is encouraged to do whatever they can do to survive. Like the CSP says, we are not the only country in the world that have problems. There are issues that are environmentally designed. There are issues that are specifically of law enforcement nature. The effectiveness of arrest, the effectiveness. I was watching something, and in some US cities, every 2.5 seconds somebody is arrested. Now, you are arrested, you are investigated, everything about you is taken into the records of the police. And this ties into the fact that if we have an efficient police system where records are kept, statistics are developed, researches are conducted to find out what is it that is current, how do we approach emerging crime situations. I think that goes a long way to position the police to effectively achieve its set goals. But here we are confronted with scenarios of disorganization of the activities of the police, ineffectiveness of the activities of the police. And therefore, everybody takes them for granted. And the other thing ties to the economy. Again, we're not the only country in the world that have economic challenges. But because of the nucleus of the problems that surround the police institution, you find that even those who shouldn't steal, those who shouldn't snatch a bag, they are encouraged to do that. So the poverty index increases or decreases from different parts of the world at different times of the year, depending on the response of the state to these challenges. If internal security, again, is government's business, you know that there will be no government work, there will be no private sector, there will be no safety in the land. That governance will even be very, very difficult, or if not impossible, because of failures to ensure internal security. Then it just means that the government must sit up. If the government sits up and ensures that the safety of government operations receives the same amount of attention as the safety of private sector operations, then of course life will be better. If we have police presence only around government establishment, you know, and then we don't have police presence in private estate. For example, in FCT here, most people live in estate. You don't have police presence. If you say it's the business of the estate developer, the estate owner to provide security, yes, of course. that in some places occupiers of houses pay for this, but that is not as effective. And of course the police must be able to have this arrangement integrated into their operations. If you don't have this arrangement integrated into the operations of the police, how much of impact will estate police or security arrangement have on a situation of constant robberies, constant abuses of people at daytime, in the night hours, and so on? So the structure of the police is very, very important. Of course, CSP made mention of the broken window theory. The broken window theory is not even as important as the intelligence-led policing. Here, the police must have their people. The police, again, must rely on the community. But if you look at the way it is, the way you know, events have played out, you know, over some years now, you find that even those citizens, those residents who try to play by reporting police or reporting to the police certain individuals in their community, they have to pay dearly for that. And that is again because those who are criminals have a field day and they know that the police can do them nothing. And that is why even those who attempt to report them, those who attempt to expose them, have to pay the supreme price, you know, sometimes because of this this failure, this weakness, I can say. So again, at the intelligence level, we must find a situation, we must find arrangements, scenarios where the public relations aspect, the activities of individuals who feel threatened, their interests, their rights, their lives also protected.
Prof, let's pause for this tweets that have come in from Nigerians who are watching this program at this point, and we'll also want to feel the perspective from the PCRC men on ground here on what exactly is our collaboration with the Nigerian security agencies. Okay, from Abdul Jalil, he said we must consider rapid security surveillance around the villages within the Abuja city.
MEJs writes, NTA GMN, thank you for bringing this topic to the front burner for discussion. The military, police, and other security agencies must tackle this now.
From Bature is this tweet. Nigerians are hardworking people, but the government isn't supportive in terms of creating job opportunities. A jobless man is a friend of the devil. The alarming rate of insecurities all over the country. To curb this menace, jobs must be provided and education must be free from primary to secondary school.
And Sunny Rising from our Twitter handle at NTAGMN says, we shouldn't be carried away by Boko Haram and IPOD exploits to leave our towns and villages vulnerable. Insecurity in Abuja now is disturbing.
From Mike Kanyako, his position is that the immediate installation of CCTV in Abuja will greatly reduce the crimes to the barest minimum. The police should be up and doing.
And Solomon writes, public safety is the most fundamental responsibility of any state. Nigeria must not fail in this regard. Federal government must get rid of all crimes in Nigeria.
Dele says insecurity in Abuja once a safe haven for Nigerians some years back, but today the reverse is the case. Why?
And Mike also writes, I think we do more of talking than acting, however. Kudos to NTA for always being prompt and sensitive on the state of the nation.
Akman Udeme has this rate. Security is one of the challenges of Nigeria. Government should pay more attention to it.
And Koji writes, apart from unimaginable security threat here and there in Abuja today, there is corporate begging going on in Abuja.
Now, Jack says Nigerians must not use unemployment as excuse to perpetrate evils. We implore government to create more jobs and encouragement through skills acquisition.
And Mike Anyapo writes that the police cannot do it alone in curbing crimes. All peoples of goodwill should help in giving information to police to combat crimes. And that takes us to Alhaji Sanusi, the Deputy national chairman of for North of Police Community Relations Committee, because civilians and the police having a meeting point to share information and all that. And PCRC is key in that direction. To what extent has PCRC been able to live up to this very position of their mandate of interacting with the police, supplying information, looking at what is happening within our neighborhood, and ensuring that the police take the appropriate steps?
Thank you very much. First, I want you to note that we are volunteers. We are not appointed or elected. We volunteer voluntarily, and then we sign oath of office to serve in line with the condition of the work. So we volunteer to support and then mobilize, indeed protect the interests of the community when it comes to the police point of view, and then protect the interests of the police from the community point of view. This is the dual role we play. And this organization was set up, was established in 1984 to be precise. Then it is a committee, it's not an association, set up by the Nigerian police 40 years ago. Seeing the impact or the importance that the community has a role to play in providing certain certain portion of their job to be supported by the community at large.
So how effective has this role for for you and for those who are volunteers?
Yeah, sometimes we find it very difficult because the police name in Nigeria is so dented that you even don't like to associate yourself with the Nigerian police. But now it's coming up. Now we, as volunteers, we now create a forum where we have, in Nigeria, we had a traditional way of keeping our security. When I was a child, I know the world we live. We have a leader. You can't occupy a rented house without him knowing. I have a house rented out. I cannot give the tenants without the knowing of the leader there. So this kind of concept, which we dropped in Nigeria, provide these issues of criminality and insecurity. But we must look inward, and we have to be realistic. Who's right to protect our life and interest? The Nigerian police. What are their numbers? What is our number? They need to know us and know where our properties are before they can even protect our properties. But here you are. In Nigeria, we're talking about 100 or 180 million Nigerians. And you are talking the United Nations ratio 1 to 400, 1 to 600, they say 1 to 60. We have only barely 200, 300 and something thousand Nigerians.
Okay.
But now we mobilize, we are mobilized through community groups, through the traditional institutions, through the market women groups, the other groups that form Nigerians to really contribute to the issues of security in Nigeria. This is where we are. And then we now make sure we ourselves are provided with certain training, acquire certain level of training to have the knowledge of how to mediate between the Nigerian
How deep
police.
is this knowledge of training that you've received?
Actually, it's not very deep because financially the police is also handicapped. So we as a committee under the police, we are not expecting. Indeed, we are expected to mobilize Nigerians to bridge the gap where government cannot do to the police, then the community should come in.
So how do you think we could address this one?
Well,
you're saying the funds are not there?
It is the question
Intelligence is needed?
Yeah, it is a question of collaboration to all stakeholders, all Nigerians. NTA, what you are doing now is your contribution, and it should go down to the level. Mike, what is happening in Abuja currently, it is because the city, the urban area is not comfortable. You cannot sit there because your poverty level at that level, like the professor says. But urban, rural urban migration it can be addressed. Then you have to come down to the social environment, the economic environment, and other activities within the rural areas.
Yeah, I know the Police Community Relations Committee play a very pivotal role in supporting the police, even in repair of their vehicles, ensuring fencing. They are pulling funds together.
Indeed, including even some, what do you call it, stationaries in the police.
Yeah,
we are down to the state command, divisional command, area command, state command, zonal command, and then the national. That is how our structure is.
I'm at home with the operations of PCRS because having been the publicity secretary way back at Abuja, at the Central Police Station and the area command.
So what did you do differently?
We pulled information together. We make sure we remain on top of what the people think, what is happening where, and supply such information. But to what extent do you think the civilian population is supporting the police with this information, and how fast do you act to them? Because that has been the disconnect, because more often than not, this information gets to you, and they feel that you don't respond as appropriate.
Thank you so much. I want to tell you that they say experience is the best teacher. I started police work from an outpost with as a one-star officer then. That's where I started. And I moved in the community. And the community came on board. The community are always willing. Nigerians are good people. When you do good, they praise you. If you do something that is not to do, they equally talk so that it will serve as your tracing. And they came on board. If there's any crime committed, the community themselves say, no, look at the people that have committed the crime. That's where I'm going to let you know that intelligence are better gathered by the natives. Information protected become what we call intelligent. There's no two way about it. But like the Prof said, like I say, I'll continue to devour with him because the police is very efficient and we are working. Before you divulge information or give information to the police, it shouldn't be an information that you already discussed with your household, with your wife and children. And before you know it, the information gets to the neighbor. And from the neighbor, before even the information gets to the police. And that is why we have responsibility when you are bringing information for us to know whether it is based on malice, whether it is a biased information, or whether you have something you want to target in giving that information. And we should know, oh, this is information we can work on. And we protect it. It becomes intelligent. If information is not protected, it's no longer an intelligent because everybody have it. And before you get to where you are going, the person, you wouldn't find it there. And federal government too is assisting us in a very good way, apart from funding us. The whistleblowing policy too is of significance in ensuring that we get adequate information. Because when you know, we on our own have what we call informants, which we cultivate.
How much are they protected too?
Yes,
because that's an issue.
That's the first thing. The protection of the identity of the informant is the start point of protecting the informant himself. But we want people to know that when you give information to a senior officer, you know there are a lot of ways you can give information now, through phone, through text message, even through the web you can send information out. But that information should be protected so that we can achieve success in it. So the community have been working with us and we have re-energized. A lot of mechanisms have been introduced. But the issue is that I want Prof to possibly visit our public relations department or other outlets in the state to know what we are doing. Because if you don't know what we are doing,
intelligence and capacity to prosecute, you know, the capacity.
When you talk of prosecution, the Nigerian police force today have the highest number of lawyers among other public or private organizations. You can, I stand to be corrected, because in the criminal justice system, we are the executive. But even when there was prison reform, you know, in the criminal justice system and the Criminal Administrative Act, the police, everything stands for us. But it's not only us, they are critical stakeholders. Like you talk of the judiciary, you talk of the benches, then you talk of the prisons. We recycle suspects. In not too far, long time, some people raided the Bureau de Change in Abuja. And they were arrested. Some of them were serving with other organizations. They were prosecuted and remanded in prison custody. But they were out, and they start committing crime and kidnapping people, and we still arrest them. As I speak with you, on Kaduna Abuja Road, I paraded for the first time 32 suspects. Subsequently, within a week, we paraded another set of 40 suspects, including their armorer. And even lastly, I paraded 13 suspects of late, who among them was a farmer who said he was farming before, but because he couldn't have anything to sell from the farm, he started to kidnap people. So, and this is a situation where even ransom are being collected in the full glare of the community. So, and that is where planning needs to be. You don't shift all your blame to the police. If your wife cannot deliver, you say it's the police. If no, it's quite unfortunate. Even community that are supposed not to be located on the highway, they encroach into the road, and people who are travelers, it's quite easy to get people to report and
Jimo, let's try to find out what the community needs to do more, especially because I remember the last time you came on, when you had that large arrest on the Kaduna-Abuja road, some of those people even were arrested were even wearing some security agencies' uniform. So people need to take extra caution on who is stopping them on the road or who exactly is in the neighborhood to actually give them trouble. So what are those key things that the populace should do to actually help themselves too in course of being security conscious in the neighborhood?
Thank you so much. The first of all, you must know where help can come from. Police station is not something that's okay, you can visit. The police station is for the general public. The DPO, the DCO, the other officers are people you should familiarize yourself with so that when you have issue, you can equally call them. Apart from that, the IG have directed that every patrol vehicle should have the distress call number of that command and of that division so that you can have it to say. But as we speak, even some of my colleagues, because as a PRO, I'm a media person, some of my colleagues, when something happened to their relative or happened to them, they still start calling me. And these are people who disseminate a distress call number through. So when you check your phone, you don't even have police number. So first of all, you must know where help can come from.
That's if you've not been dispossessed of your phone.
I'm just giving an example because if you have somebody with a neighbor, because most of the time, let me give an instance in Lugbe, for example, somebody who's supposed to visit an in-law couldn't communicate the in-law and he was knocking, but the neighbor around get to know about it and they rush out with cutlasses and everything. And the man called the police and said, look, there are robbers in front of my house. Police have to employ a lot of discretion. If not, they'll have killed innocent people that came out to inform, to assist the neighbor. So it is important in our neighborhood that we know ourselves and we know where help can come from. And we form ourselves into meetings, not necessarily contributing money, but meeting with the DPO, this area, this is what we have. And that is where this spirit of informal policing comes in, where you use people who are around volunteers to ensure that they patrol with the policemen within the neighborhood, but they must be registered with the divisional police officer.
CSP Jimo, we need to move to Prof, but you know, this call number you talk about, when you have 12 numbers to call and it varies from one session to the other, as compared to what obtains outside, where you have a unique number you could call, and this number, there is a connection, a collaboration between the police and the communication organization, you know.
So what number can they call?
So
that's what I'm asking.
The point is, you know, can't we narrow this number to something like 911, and when you call it, the session from where you're calling will be linked up? Because when you give 12 numbers and there's several of them,
I'll answer this question in two ways. The 12 number can be saved with either police 1 or police 2 or police 3, so that when you open your phone, it will be the first number that will come up. But outside that, the federal government, you know, we started in the FCT, the 112. I won't want to mention name, 2 to 3 service provider key in, so that it's toll free. When you call it toll free, then later the federal government took it over, and you have the 112, that's the national emergency number. When you get to it, it goes to the police, to the fire service, to other emergency services that you are going to need. It's working. So saying that we don't have a national emergency number is drawing us back. So it's how to improve on it. But the problem is, like I've said, people should take time off. Because in the past in Nigeria, and that is why we have it easier, we have less educated people, but more enlightened populace.
All right, that's the point. Okay. You've made a point there, Jimo.
Let's find out. Professor Sam Smart, yes, effective policing of the community, whether from the police side or even the community, is key for us as a nation. Yes. What more do we need to do different from what we've said in the course of this discussion?
Thank you very much. Just like the PPRO has said, the issue of the communications industry is very, very important. You remember we went through a series of SIM registrations by network providers, and you know, we kept repeating until we got it right. Now, armed robbers, kidnappers, and all those people who use new technologies to commit crime are going on scot-free. What is happening to the National Communications Commission? That someone will use his phone number registered with all the identities on it, on the platform, and is somewhere in the bush communicating with the family and then negotiating ransom, and then the police are so helpless, they can't reach out to that place. They can't reach out to the hideout. I think this is a big challenge, and I want this to be maybe the new frontier of approach to policing, because we're in the 21st century and technology keeps changing. And I would say that indeed intelligence, which encompasses all sectors, the public, the police institutions, other sister institutions, and you know, all institutions, what we call interagency cooperation. This has been on paper before, and a lot of energy, a lot of money, a lot of issues have gone into this process, but it has never really seen the light of day, where information sharing is the norm. Information sharing amongst institutions or law enforcement agencies is the norm. We see people still holding on to certain security information as if it's their personal property. We're talking about public safety here. Public safety is business. Public safety is economic development.
Okay. All right, Prof, I think you've made your point. The public safety is the people's business. Police piloting it. Let's get to Sanusi, because let's just have your word going forward.
Well, going forward is for what we are doing now in PCRC is to make sure all institutions within the security implementers, we bring them together to understand that we need to have one focus to let the society at large trust and believe that the security agencies are well positioned to address the issue, and then they will expect the community to come forward. And the community are willing, because they have no option now other than to provide security for themselves. But the way they do it, it is not the most practicable way as today's.
So perhaps the PCRC should need to
yeah, we are doing
collaboration.
Yes,
okay.
we calling for more collaboration from all angles.
Okay.
But sensitizing the focus to have one focus, that everybody's is facing. But the issue most important, the professor talked, he talked, and you were silent. You are a member of PCRC. If you are to, he is up to today. If you are to ensure that the police works well, the government should play it so well in the areas of funding.
All right, thank you very much.
If we fund the police well, then we have right to...
We must go to Alajia first PRO. There is a tweet here that you must respond to as your final word, but quickly run through them. A policeman dilemma, CSP, Kulbana Nabrana, that's he wrote. It's a police monitoring unit.
Kulbana Brahma.
Police salary is very poor, thereby giving the criminal opportunities to entice officers with money. And we want corrupt-free officers?
When you visit most of the police divisions, apart from arms and ammunition which may be intact, it is very rare to see good chairs, table.
Well, for the kids, how many are we in this country? That's a question. Can we truly identify those who are Nigerians and those who are not? How do we know crimes that are committed by Nigerians and crimes perpetrated by those claiming they are Nigerians who are not?
Ajao Shahid. Black spots are Galadimawa, Games Village, Axis, Wuse 2 for car glass breaking. CCTV needs to be deployed in some of these many places.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll start by saying that, we have 2 bills at the National Assembly now. The first by Honorable Oniolumide of House of Reps.
Yes, we have just 1 minute.
Yes, that for proper funding of the police force, police trust fund, and we are very hopeful if it is passed to provide enough funding. Equally, the Senate Committee Chairman on Police Affairs, Senator Abu Ibrahim, is well controlling on that one, on appropriate funding of the police. When all this come into being, where people contribute money to this fund, and we are going to properly manage it, it will help us.
We are going to properly manage it. That's a word that will hold you to that, because the police, the National Assembly is coming out with the law, and the public are also keying into that. On that note, we'd like to say special thanks to CSP Jimo Moshood, the Force Public Relations Officer, for being part of this conversation.
Thank you so much.
We also like to say special thanks to Professor Sam Smar, Professor of Criminology at Nasarawa State University, Kerfi. We thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And of course, not leaving out Alhaji Sanusi Majama Ajia, the Deputy National Chairman North of Police Community Relations Committee. We thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And
up next is sports. Talking sports, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer win to advance at the Shanghai Masters. Join us.
Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer registered a straightforward victories to move into the third round of the Shanghai Masters. World number one Nadal needed just 54 minutes to beat America's Jared Donaldson 6-2, 6-1.
Sensational performance from the world number one.
Federer, chasing his 94th ATP title, beat Argentine Diego Schwartzman 7-6, 7-4, 6-4.
Roger Federer is over the first hurdle in Shanghai.
Rafael Nadal will next play Fabio Fognini, and Roger Federer faces Alessandro Degupolov. Meanwhile, Venus Williams was knocked out in the second round of the Hong Kong Open by 19-year-old Naomi Osaka. Second said Williams, playing in her second match since the US Open lost 7-5, 6-2 to the Japanese, who was ranked 64th in the world. The Confederation of African Football (CAF) will announce the new host of the 2018 African Nations Championship (CHAN) on Saturday. This was revealed during a meeting of the CHAN Organizing Committee on Wednesday in Cairo, Egypt. Morocco, Equatorial Guinea and Ethiopia are the three countries in the running for the hosting rights of the 2018 CHAN. Kenya, who were initially billed to host the tournament, had their right to host withdrawn by CAF due to lack of preparation. The CHAN tournament, which is for players in the domestic leagues only, is due to kick off in January.
Let's join Patricia Isamiluba for an update on the foreign scene.
Hello and good morning. News from around the globe have it that officials of the European Union say it is awaiting security conditions in Libya to reopen its embassy so as to offer political support for Tripoli government struggling to establish control. In its draft joint statement, it mentioned that the leaders of EU will announce this at their summit in Brussels on October 19th to 20th, and that work is on the way to speedily establish a permanent EU presence in Libya. But the statement makes clear no such move is imminent, as it will be conditional on improving the security situation on the ground. Meanwhile, the African Union's pledge of a $100,000 in relief item to drought victims in Somalia 6 months ago has just been handed over to the Somali government. The assorted items were handed over on Tuesday by the head of the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM. The items include rice, sugar, beans and vegetable oil. Reports have it that close to 3 million people were at risk of famine and needed immediate assistance. And that's about it for now. More stories will come your way in our subsequent bulletin. Do have a blessed day.
Time left for weather outlook from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. Join us in a moment.
You're welcome to the weather segment from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. Let's see what the weather holds for Thursday. Dust in suspension is expected to leave the northern fringes of the country in dust haze, and the southern parts of the north and the central cities would be in partly cloudy skies. However, spillover of overnight activities into early morning could affect Abuja, parts of Abuja and Kwara State. The coastal cities inland of the southeast and Mambila axis could witness morning thunderstorms. Then by afternoon, Katsina, Kano, Unguru and northern parts of Maiduguri could witness dust haze in moderate visibility of about 3 to 5 kilometers. But in spite of this, there are possibilities of localized thundery activities over these areas, which are capable of inducing localized dust storms. And the central parts of the country down to the southern cities are expected to experience scattered thunderstorms. I am Imara Joyce Nchom. Here's the temperature forecast across selected cities. Thanks for watching and see you again.
Well, that's it on Good Morning Nigeria, where we looked at the challenges of internal security and how well do you take care of your eyes? Well, that's a poster for you to reach out today.
How many can you see?
Well, I'm seeing 2 fingers.
Okay. All right, that shows your
Ayoze, and I hope you join us again tomorrow for another edition of Good Morning Nigeria.
And I'm Blessing Abu. See you again 7 in the morning tomorrow, God willing.
Including HIV, is an invention.
This is very, very good and good marketing tech.
Entrepreneurship is about passion and finding that to sell that passion.
And we can promote that, we can expose that, we can save this idea and keep it for Africa.
My great inspiration is Walt Disney.
Your business is self-empowerment scheme.
Yes, sir.
I think you want to empower yourself.
No, and others too.
This is what you do for me. Go and think about what I'm saying while I think about what the judges think about you.
Okay, sir. But, where?
Is driven into a decoction of archaeos osimum gratissimum venonia amagnalina congronema latifolia.
Another edition of TV Guide magazine is out with revealing accounts of trending stories. With the dwindling oil revenue, he says there is no reason to worry.
We strongly believe that culture is Nigerians' new oil. And we're going to show that by creating wealth, our art and culture will be a statement for all of us.
Our cover story is on Otumba Olunsegun Runchewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture. For upcoming TV presenters, elegant Elizabeth Banu tells you what it takes. A peep into the activities of the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative, a mandate being fulfilled. A trip to the Yankari Games Reserve and Safari in Bauchi State brings you closer to nature. And the Oshun Oshogo Festival, our culture, our pride. Professor Adiku, the Vice-Chancellor, University of Abuja, tells us what it means to manage a university, plus our regular features, star profile, media issues, relationships, young minds, entertainment, sports, and lots more. Pick your copy now at the vendors or at every NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
UAC Unscripted. Hilarious.
Go shorty, it's your birthday. Go shorty.
Unscripted.
Talk something, no. Talk something.
UAC Unscripted. Nigeria's newest family fun. Showing on NTA Network, 8:30 p.m. every Monday. UAC Unscripted. Comedy uncensored.
Welcome to the program, The Eagle. My name is Aisha Gambari. Aisha Muhammad is with me on the program. Hello.
Hi, Aisha. Good evening to you, viewers. Thanks for joining us as we bring you another interesting edition of the program.
The program is The Eagle, coming to you from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
The Eagle, showing on this station every Monday from 3:30 to 4 p.m.
This is the network service of the NTA.